Hey freedivers, in today's video we're going to be breaking down the most common EQ issues that you may be experiencing, as well as what causes them and how to overcome those problems. As you can see here, we've got everything from pain to one ear equalizing. Maybe you can only equalize feet first, or after every dive you have a feeling of water stuck in your ears. So if you have experienced any of these issues before, we're going to be breaking down each one individually and giving you some exercises to overcome them. Let's dive in. If you experience pain in your ears when you're equalizing and diving, this comes down to the timing of your equalization as well as the technique. In terms of the timing, you're most likely leaving the timing too late with your equalization, or perhaps you're continuing to dive without making sure that you get a proper equalization. So to prevent pain in the ears, what you're going to want to do is practice some dry equalization techniques, even implementing some visualization where you picture yourself equalizing between each individual pull. One thing I see a lot of divers do is they either skip equalizations or they're pulling or kicking down too fast, which means the pressure buildup is going to be too great that it's really difficult to equalize with. So in terms of reducing the pain of the equalization, you want to make sure that you're getting a proper equalization before you're descending any further. Take your time, there is absolutely no rush. Perhaps you're a diver that only has one ear that equalizes. So you feel like one ear, you get a nice good pop, and then the other one isn't quite doing it. The truth be told is we all have one ear that's not as good as the other. This is just due to our faces and our bodies being asymmetrical. And what that means is one of your eustachian tubes is likely tighter. It could be blocked or inflamed. So the way we can overcome this is through dry equalization training. Practicing your dry equalization as frequently as possible. If you do it every single day for 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to notice that your ears are going to start equalizing a little more in sync. The next equalization issue that you may have experienced is that feeling of not having air to equalize with. Now, what triggers this is your soft palate closing, or perhaps you're using Valsalva. So depending on how deep you are when you're experiencing this, if you're around 10 to 15 meters and then you feel like you have no air to equalize with, it's most likely that you're using Valsalva. The way we overcome this is by transitioning into Frenzel equalization. I would recommend watching a video on Frenzel EQ to be able to figure out how to do it and to work on some exercises to be able to implement Frenzel instead of Valsalva, because as you dive deeper and that air compresses, it's going to be a lot harder to draw air from the lung into the oral cavity. Now, the other issue that might be happening is to do with the soft palate. If you run your tongue or finger across the roof of the mouth, you'll feel a soft fleshy bit at the back. That there is the soft palate. Now, what can be happening, you might be diving and you feel like there's no air coming up into the ears. What likely is happening for you is the soft palate here is closing, and it can close due to a number of factors. Some people, when you're inverted, gravity is going to force that soft palate shut. So if you picture your head down, gravity is pulling the soft palate closed, okay? Now, this is very common. The other issue that can be happening is you might even be bringing your tongue to the roof of your mouth and trapping air, preventing air from being able to travel up into the eustachian tubes. If you're experiencing either of these, practicing Frenzel dry is going to help you with either of those issues. Now, on that, another thing that might happen is, yes, you can equalize with your head upright, but once you're inverted, it's a lot more difficult. So what I would recommend in that case is practicing some equalization drills whilst inverted over the edge of the bed or a couch. Another exercise you can practice is completely inverting yourself on the side of the pool. So your head's going to be down and you can just practice doing some repeat equalizations with your head down. Now, ears hurting after diving? This comes down to over-equalization, improper technique, as well as timing. If you're getting pain in your ears, it means you're likely either leaving your EQs too long, letting that pressure build up, or you're over-equalizing. Over-equalizing is when you're really trying to force it. Now, the way we overcome this is descend slower, making sure that as you're progressing down, you don't progress any further until you feel an equalization. So do smaller kicks, or if you're pulling, just do smaller pulls to make sure that you get that equalization between every single pull instead of doing a big pull where you're going to travel 2 to 3 meters or so with each pull. The next drill you can do is working on the technique of applying pressure. So just whilst dry, practice doing a few different equalizations with different levels of pressure. So first you can try practicing a T-frenzel with as little pressure as possible, trying to get those ears to pop. Next, you can practice it with normal pressure. And the next one I want you to practice is doing the same, but with constant pressure. So once you get that equalization, try hold it open for 5 to 10 seconds. All right. And you can do these drills over and over for a few minutes, just to practice working on getting that equalization as subtle as possible. If you can only equalize feet first, this is very, very common. This comes down to soft palate and technique as well. So as I explained in the previous one up here, when we inverted, our soft palate can close due to gravity. With that being said, there are a lot of people who can equalize upright on the surface or in the water, or maybe even fun diving and spearfishing, but as soon as they're fully inverted on the line, it's a lot harder to equalize. Because if you think about air in the water column, it wants to travel up. So if your head's more upright or even at, like say, a 45-degree angle, it naturally comes up through the head, so it's easier to equalize. But when we're diving on a line and we're fully inverted, we've got to pull air against gravity to get that equalization. The way we can work on this is continue doing some feet first diving. If you just practice working on the mechanics of how it all works over the course of up to 5 or so sessions, just to make it also like muscle memory, that's going to help your equalization a lot. You're also going to want to do some soft palate control exercises. These soft palate control exercises work with, say, a balloon, and you're going to practice moving air in and out by opening and closing the soft palate. So I'm going to show you some of those exercises really quick. Here I've got an octopus EQ tool. You can do this same exercise just with a balloon, but the EQ tool makes it a lot easier because it has this narrow passageway that's going to reduce the amount of air that's flowing out. With this exercise, what you're going to do first is release air into the mouth and let it pass up and out through the nose. To allow it to pass, I have to drop my soft palate, opening it up, allowing the air to travel through, making sure that I'm not breathing air into the lungs. So the way it's going to look is I put it to the mouth, and you can put one finger under the nose to make sure you feel the air passing through. And you can do this to varying levels of control. You can open and close for little bits at a time, or you can just let there be one constant flow. The next one's going to be a little harder, but this exercise is even better if you are having issues with your soft palate. It works in the same manner. This time I'm going to put the balloon up the nose and let air pass out. When the air's passing in this direction, it's more likely that your soft palate can automatically close. So it is going to be harder, but it works in that control. So once more, EQ tool to the nose. I'm going to block the other nostril and open the mouth. Have you ever had that feeling of water being stuck in your ears for a few days at a time? Well, this one's actually quite interesting. So what can happen with this one here is that feeling of water in the ears is often actually a middle ear barotrauma from over equalizing, as well as not equalizing properly, having the timing be off, and all of that. This isn't actually water stuck in the ears. So many people get this wrong. What's actually happened is you've caused a little bit of a ear barotrauma. I believe it's called barotitis media, this variation of it. And what happens is your ears become super inflamed and they then start feeling clogged and stuffy. And it's not water, but it's actually just inflammation and fluids within the ear. And that, as I said, comes down to not equalizing properly, having the timing be off, and all of that. With all of these issues, working on dry equalization is going to help. It's going to get both ears equalizing more in sync with one another. It's going to improve the flexibility of the eustachian tubes as well as the mind muscle connection of all the muscles in your mouth. And overall, you're just going to experience more comfortable dives. You're not going to have any pain or discomfort, inflammation before, during, after your dives, anything like that. And it's going to just make it a much nicer experience. Remember, when we're equalizing, or when we're diving, sorry, we shouldn't feel any pain. There should be no discomfort, there should be no pain. You should be equalizing before you even feel much of a pressure build up. It should be comfortable, it should be relaxed. And if you equalize with your timing right, this isn't going to happen. None of these issues are going to happen. I hope you found this video useful. In the next video, we're going to be talking all about Frenzel equalization. I'm going to tell you why we need to do it, how to do it, and the best exercises to train it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.